Once upon a time, a clever cat played a tricky game with a kind vulture. But when parent birds jump to conclusions, who truly suffers? Get ready for the vulture, the cat, and the birds.
On the peaceful banks of the shimmering river Bhagirathi, nestled gently on a verdant hill named Gridakuta, stood a magnificent parkati tree. This ancient tree, with its sprawling branches and deep hollows, was home to many forest creatures. Within one of its cozy, hollow trunks lived Jaredgava, a very old and wise vulture. Poor Jaredgava had been deprived of his eyesight and strong claws by fate, making hunting for himself impossible. But the other kind birds who also lived in that grand tree had big, warm hearts. Out of pity and friendship, they would always share juicy berries and tender insects from their own meals with him, ensuring he never went hungry. In return, Jaredgava, with his keen sense of hearing and strong voice, vigilantly guarded their precious young ones in their snug nests. He felt important and loved watching over the tree's precious little residents. Life in the parkati tree was usually calm and harmonious. One sunny morning, the peaceful quiet was shattered by a shadow lurking near the tree. A sleek cat known as Dirgakarna, with soft, dark gray fur and bright emerald green eyes, crept silently towards the tree. His mind was set on a mischievous plan. He wanted to snatch and feast on the innocent young birds sleeping soundly in their nests. All of a sudden, the tiny little birds spotted the sneaky cat creeping closer. Their usually joyful chirps turned into nervous twitters as danger approached. A flurry of terrified squawking and screeching erupted from the nests, echoing through the tranquil morning air. The small birds fluttered their tiny wings in distress, their fear palpable. This sudden, loud commotion reached the sharp ears of old Jaredgava, who was resting peacefully in his hollow trunk. With a start, he lifted his head, his cloudy eyes turning towards the sound. "Who comes here?" he called out, his voice strong despite his age, filled with concern. "Dirgakarna!" The sly cat froze in his tracks the moment he heard the booming voice of the old vulture. A wave of fear washed over him, and he gasped, "Oh no! I am dead!" He wished he had known about the formidable old vulture guarding the nests. He would have been far more careful and stealthy in his approach. Now there was no turning back, nowhere to run and hide from such a guardian. The cat knew he couldn't escape this wise old bird. Instead of fleeing, Dirgakarna decided to be clever and strategic. What will be, he thought to himself. Reasoning thus, displaying extraordinary courage and cunning, the cat cautiously approached the base of the tree. He adopted a pose of deep respect, bowing his head slightly and offering a polite greeting to the formidable, blind old vulture. A sugary, innocent smile stretched across his face, trying to hide his true intentions. "Who are you?" asked Jaredgava, his voice steady, his sightless eyes still fixed on the general direction of the sound. The cat, maintaining his polite demeanor, replied softly, "I am a cat, sir." Upon hearing this, the old vulture's feathers bristled slightly, sensing immediate danger. "Take yourself off at once, you villain, or I will kill you," he commanded, his protective instincts flaring fiercely. The cat remained outwardly calm, despite the vulture's stern warning, ready with his next deceptive words. "First, hear what I have to say." "Good sir, and then, if I still deserve to die, then you may kill me," said the cat, his voice smooth as silk. He continued, "It is not right that anyone should be judged merely on account of their birth, no matter if they are a bird, a cat, or anything else." He paused, looking earnest. Instead, it is their good conduct and actions that show their true character, determining if they are to be praised or punished. His words seemed wise and thoughtful, designed to disarm the old vulture. "Curious," the old vulture replied. "Tell me then, why have you come here?" The cat, with a practiced sigh, explained his elaborate tale of piety. "I live here on the banks of this holy river, bathing daily in its sacred waters as a sign of my devotion. I eat no meat, preferring only simple fruits and roots, and I observe the month-long fast of the moon." He lowered his head respectfully. The cat saw an opportunity to deceive the old vulture, and he was taking it. He continued, pointing towards Jaradgava. "The birds all praise your immense wisdom and virtue, good sir. And so I came here, hoping to learn about truly right conduct from you, who are steeped in the wisdom of years." Then his voice dropped to a feigned whisper of disappointment. "But you are so virtuous that you seek to kill a guest." "It is your sacred duty to look after a guest. For in a guest, it is said, all the gods reside." Jaradgava was momentarily taken aback by this. "However," he replied cautiously, "you are a cat, and cats like meat, and young birds live here. That is why I said what I did." The cunning cat, pretending to be deeply horrified by the accusation, touched the ground with his paw and then his ears, a traditional sign of solemn oath. "Oh, kind sir," he declared dramatically, "I have undertaken this difficult fast after studying the Holy Scriptures and renouncing all worldly passions." He spoke with conviction. "While the Scriptures might disagree on many small points, they all agree that non-violence is the greatest virtue anyone can possess." He looked sincere, he continued, his voice resonating with false piety. "Those who give up all forms of violence and truly abstain from hurting others go straight to heaven." Durgakarna looked up at the blind vulture with a bright, innocent gaze. "So why would I commit such a grievous sin as killing, when I can easily fill my stomach with the plentiful fruits and roots that grow abundantly in this very forest?" His words were powerful and convincing, sounding entirely virtuous. The old vulture, despite his long life, began to waver in his suspicions. Thus, with his cleverly woven words, the cunning cat successfully convinced the trusting old vulture that he meant absolutely no harm to anyone. Durgakarna was welcomed into the hollow of the ancient parkati tree, taking up residence close to Jaradgava and the nests of the tiny birds. All seemed peaceful and secure. However, as a few days quietly passed, his evil plan slowly began to unfold with wicked precision. He started catching the young, unsuspecting birds one by one, seizing them with silent agility. He would quietly bring each little bird, one at a time, into his secret part of the hollow, where he would devour them without a trace. Soon the parent birds noticed their children were missing, and the tree was filled with their sorrowful cries. They were beside themselves with grief, searching frantically everywhere for their beloved missing children. Durgakarna, seeing the rising panic and realizing his deception would soon be discovered, knew it was time for him to disappear. He quietly and swiftly slunk away from the tree, vanishing into the forest as silently as he had arrived. Meanwhile, the distraught parent birds, their hearts heavy with sadness, continued their desperate search. Their tragic journey eventually led them to that very hollow where Jaradgava lived. To their horror and shock, there amidst the hollow of the parkati tree, they discovered the scattered bones of their precious young ones. Overcome with rage and sorrow, they immediately believed the old, blind vulture had betrayed and eaten their children. Combining their strength and fury, the heartbroken birds attacked and tragically killed Jaradgava right there and then. A sad end to a kind but trusting soul. This sad tale teaches us a very important lesson. We must be very careful about who we trust. It reminds us that appearances can be deceiving. And it's always wise to look deeper and not judge a book by its cover, or a cat by its sweet words. Sometimes, those who seem the kindest can hide the biggest secrets, Always use your good judgment and be cautious, even with those who seem very polite.
Ever dreamed of being the hero? Now you get to be the star. Your adventure starts at TalesMio. Visit talesmio.com now.